Perfectly excellent.
Hey, oh, so you're dancing? What happened?
There's no music. It's gone. Go.
It's gone. It's gone. What is going on? Good evening, party people, and welcome to another episode of Perfectly Excellent. Episode 39.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes.
About to turn 40 here, which is that's most impressive. So
I remember when I turned 40.
Do you? Was that bowling or was that 30?
40, I think we might have gone to Solar.
Oh, that's a good reason to go there. 40 is a big one.
Anyway, that was many moons ago.
Yeah, that was many moons ago. Well, cool. Well, hey, it's good to see you. Good evening. Hope everything is going well. We are still here on a Tuesday, but I think this may be our last Tuesday, right? We might be able to go back to our regularly scheduled time on Thursday evenings after this.
That would be lovely. I miss Thursdays.
Yeah, I do too, because especially when we would get set up, I like move my work stuff over and set up our Perfectly Excellent stuff. And then on Friday, it's like not a big deal. It's like, oh, okay. It's I could switch things around. But when it's a Wednesday, like I feel it. I'm like, oh, all this stuff has to go. I'm not quite done through the work week. But yeah, I'm excited. Tonight, we have a very special episode. It's another Rewind Club episode.
Yes.
Where we're going to be tackling tackling one of would you say this is one of your favorite movies or
I don't know if it's one of my favorite movies, but it's certainly one of my favorite Godzilla movies.
Okay. I
kind of put Godzilla movies in like a different category than like regular movies. Like if I'm ranking my favorite movies and I'm throwing off like, Blues Brothers, Three Amigos, that kind of stuff, I'm not necessarily going to toss a Godzilla movie in that list. It just feels like a different category of thing to me.
No, that would make sense. I would expect in like Blockbuster to find like a Godzilla section. Versus like, Blues Brothers and everything. So cool. But we'll definitely get to that in a moment. But before we do, we have some inventions to exchange.
We sure do.
We should.
Perfectly excellent.
Before I invention exchange, I forgot I have this to show off.
Oh.
This is our first bit of fan mail.
Great. Okay.
Two Perfectly Excellent. And it's meant as like a, fill in the blank here. Hello, Perfectly Excellent. Today's theme is, and we can fill in the blank. So I will save this for next time. So I fill it in, but there you go. Fan mail. Please send all your letters to Perfectly Excellent, P.O. Box 4035.
3838 Shattuck Square, Berkeley, California. I don't remember the zip code.
What is that from?
That's the Mr. T Experience.
Oh, was it? That's great.
From that T-shirt commercial song.
Yeah. So we were at ZoloCon. Was that like a week ago? When was that?
Sometime last year.
Yeah, it feels like it was not in the same month, week, or year. It feels a long time ago. But when we went, I was hoping, I was eager to see video games there, if you remember talking about them, because I was like, oh, I would like to buy some video games. And then the cost of said games at the show were really cost prohibitive. So I'm like, you know what? I am not going to go down that road of collecting video games. But I was thinking about it.
Aren't you?
Well, let me explain. So I was having this thought, as one tends to think of, what if I don't collect video games, but what if I were to curate a selection of video games that were important to me? So I can have like my own little like Allen gaming museum of the games that really mattered to me in my life. Mm-hmm. Not collecting, curating.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of started dipping my feet into that. And thankfully, these games are not like the games we saw at ZoloCon, which had many's of hundreds of dollars behind them.
Lots of zeros.
Lots of zeros, yes. These games are much more affordable because maybe they're not desirable. I don't know. But I started picking out some gems, and I've been kind of fantasizing about how this will look. Like I could even make little plaques for them and put them on little displays. So it like why this game is included. and I'm going to try to limit it to 10 games. I don't know. It's keeping me busy. It's keeping me
No,
happy.
I like the idea of like the Museum of Natural History sort of plaque next to it.
Yeah, like, oh, here is, The Legend of Zelda. This was the first open world game that Alan ever played back on the NES. And then I even think like next to it, I'll include like a figure or something related to the game. But
Your high score.
oh, that would be hilarious. But so I started down this path, and I have a couple to show off today. First is the Xbox 360 Mass Effect Trilogy Collection. Now, again, this was not worth anything. It's a little steelbook in there. It has been re-released as in like an updated collection, but these are the versions that I played, the originals, as well as the updated versions. And this I played on the Xbox 360. Just an amazing sci-fi epic story with great characters, great story, just everything drew me into this world. A lot of controversy as games do about the ending, but this is something really important to me. So this would go in said museum on a little stand with talking about like a line or two why this was important. Additionally, I figured the museum has room for some oddities and some interesting things.
The freak wing.
Yes, exactly. The annex, right, where it gets weird. But you know that I love Advance Wars.
Yes,
So one thing that I picked up was this Famicom Wars DS. This is the Japanese version of Dual Strike, just because I thought the artwork looked really, really amusing, and I thought it would be like a neat piece for the museum. And surprisingly, though it seems odd to me, Japanese versions of games are way cheaper than their US counterparts for whatever reason. But so that's a neat one. And then I'll limit it to I'll just show off one or two more if you indulge me. But another one I picked up is the Switch version of Persona 4 Golden. Now this one has eluded me for some times. I tried to get this when it was available. It's the physical version is from Limited Run Games, so as you can imagine, these were very, very limited. But I played it on Switch, but I already played it on the PlayStation Vita. So I think I still need to track down that version. But again, just one of the most amazing RPGs I've ever played. And I absolutely love it. Sunk over 120 hours into it the first time I played it. And I don't know, this is neat. I'm psyched to finally have this. And the last one I'll show off is the Game & Watch Gallery 4 on Game Boy Advance. This is just such a treat. That says there's 6 games, but there's more than 6 games in here. And you could play the original like LCD kind of Game & Watch versions of them, as well as modern versions. And I sunk so much time into this trying to unlock everything. So I actually still have a copy of this, but now I have a boxed copy. So yes, so the museum is not yet opened, but hopefully will be scheduled to open soon. And I would love for you to come pay a visit, and I could give you a personal tour once it does.
Sure. I need to see some more retro games in there, though. I mean,
I want to keep it very limited, but I'm thinking there may be one game from every system that was really important to me, starting way back on the Intellivision, going all the way up maybe to modern consoles. But so there will be retro. Hey, I think this Mass Effect thing has to be retro. This has got to be over 20 years. I don't know if there's a date on it. I don't know. Well, I'll get back to you on that. But yes, good times. So thus concludes my portion of today's Invention Exchange.
All right. Well, cool. for my portion of it, I'm keeping it in theme today.
Okay.
With the Godzilla theme. And I managed to find something that I've been wanting for a long, long time.
Godzilla! It's oh no way, it's the Monsters book. Oh, yes, that is amazing.
The Crestwood Godzilla book, which I used to like. They had this in my elementary school library, and they had this in the local public library, and I used to take this out from the library all the time. In the library, I actually photocopied most of the book so I could bring the pages home.
You bootlegged it. You're early bootlegger.
Kind of. So this is something that I've wanted for a really long time. It's in again, considering it was a library book, it's in really pretty good shape, all things considered. The pages are good. The binding's pretty good. You know, it's got wear to it because it's old. But
and there's a lot of people have affection for these because when I look, these were not cheap.
No, I got a pretty good deal on this, all things considered, but I would not consider it cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like that was one of those fundamental books and whatnot for me, because when I was a kid, there wasn't much Godzilla stuff around. You know, I had like 1 or 2 figures. I had the Shogun Warrior figure. I had the 6-inch Imperial figure. I had the 12-inch Imperial figure. There really wasn't much else out there. So anytime I found any Godzilla thing when I was a kid,
it was exciting.
Yeah, it was super exciting. And again, that book was old.
Yeah, I remember those books, but I don't remember the Godzilla one. But I remember there was like a Dracula one. What else was there? There was your classic like movie monster books. Oh yeah, here we go. Dracula, Godzilla, Mad Scientist, Frankenstein. Can't see the other one. King Kong. All right, cool. These were great books, and I just remember you and I talked about it last time. I'm like, oh, these are cool. I'm curious to look them up. I'm like, no. I'll stay away from those.
They're pricey. I'd like to get the King Kong one because I had that one. I read that one a lot as well. The other monster ones weren't things that really ever interested me. Like I've never really been into like horror movies, even the old campy ones. It was never my thing. But monster movies, I love monster movies. So if I ever saw a decent deal on the King Kong one, I might grab it to just have the partner book.
Sure.
But I'm not stressed about it. I got the Godzilla one. That's the important one.
That's a good one. It's too bad it doesn't have the little library card slot thing in the front, like whatever that was, to see who checked it out and all those things. Or does it? Oh, no.
It doesn't. It does not. It does not. But it's still. I'm still very happy with it. I'm very
awesome.
Have one of these.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's like the cool, weird stuff that I was hoping to see more of at ZoloCon, but hey, you found it elsewhere. So
out with the old and with the important.
You got it. Indeed.
Sticking with that. Clear out the attic, buy the things that you always wanted.
Yes. Speaking of old, this movie is kind of old.
Oh,
yes. Well, we are kind of old, but we are definitely not as old as this movie.
All right, let's push the button and get it going.
Push the button, Frank.
Perfectly excellent.
Yeah.
Bring it back, come rewind.
Do you want to just reiterate why you picked this movie before we kind of get into it?
I mean, originally my plan was that I wanted to have you watch every Godzilla movie, at least the Showa Godzilla movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the first one. We watched the Japanese and the US version of the 1954/1956.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-1.
Yeah. And then the next movie on the list is Godzilla Raids Again. And when I couldn't bring myself to like make you watch that one as your next Godzilla movie. And again, it's not bad. It's just not super interesting. It's not, the original director Ishiro Honda. He doesn't do it. The Akira Ifukube does not do the soundtrack. Godzilla's in it. It introduces the Anguirus monster as well, but it just didn't feel like it was a good thing to try to talk about for about a half an hour. So I decided to skip that and go to the next one in the series, which is definitely one of the highlights of the series, which is King Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it. Did I miss anything, any continuity from not seeing the second one going into this one?
Only that at the very end of Godzilla Raids Again, he gets trapped in the iceberg that he breaks out of at the beginning of King Kong versus Godzilla.
I put that together based on the fact that he breaks out of it in this one. I'm like, oh, he must have gotten trapped in there. So
yeah,
cool.
Since they obliterated him to dust in the first one, they tried to maybe make the end of the second one not quite so final.
A little bit more ambiguous to the fact as if there could be a sequel. Yeah, they left nothing to the imagination that first time around. He was gone.
So before we get into the movie itself, I put together again some quick facts about it.
Oh, look at this. I love facts.
This was originally released in Japan in August of 1962, released in the US a year later. We did only watch the Japanese version of this. I don't think it would be practical to try to watch the Japanese and American version of every Godzilla movie that we do. And while there are certainly differences between the two, I think that the Japanese one is the superior version. And I just figured, let's just watch that. We'll just stick with the Japanese movies going forward. There's not like that sort of, Raymond Burr character that's in the movie in like a massive way in this movie, in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah,
there's some edits, there's some like newscaster footage that is unique to that, but for the most part, they're close enough to where we'll just stick with the one.
I did read about that with the US version, some of the, the edits and the things they did to it. So cool. Yeah. And please in the chat, chime in at any point if you've seen this, if you haven't seen this, or, love to hear what everybody thinks. Yes.
If you don't love it, yeah, I guess you can still say that.
Yeah. That's
so, again, getting the information for Japanese movies this old, some of the stats are sort of suspect. We don't know exactly how accurate these are, but it made over $8 million off of a $400,000 budget. And the one thing we do know is because most of the Japanese box office stuff is tracked by the number of tickets sold as opposed to money made, which is different than how it's tracked in the US. And to this day, it is still the most attended Godzilla film of all time in Japan.
Oh, very nice. People were, in 1962, they were craving their monster movies.
And also King Kong was a big draw because the King Kong movie, the RKO movie, was very popular in Japan.
Okay. Well, cool. These are all good facts. I appreciate this. I had some questions going in. I was really curious. I'm like, how are these two going to meet? Like, how is this going to come together? I also these are my questions I wrote down before I saw it. Who is the good guy and who is the bad guy, or are they friends? So all of that was answered very well. But one thing, and then I was curious because again, like I asked before, I missed the original, or I missed the movie in between these, Godzilla Raids Again, but I did see the first one and I knew he was definitely toast. I'm like, I wasn't sure if this introduced a new origin story for Godzilla, how they brought him back, but I guess that would have happened in the previous movie, huh?
Kind of. They sort of, the Godzilla lore is a bit inconsistent movie to movie. Like every movie acknowledges that first 1954 Godzilla. They sort of kind of say it's the same one sometimes, and it's not the same one, and other times in Godzilla Raids Again, they sort of make it seem like it's a different monster that the same thing happened to, and then this one is a direct continuation of that. But then again, when they start referring backwards again, they kind of always talk about the first one. So it's not an ironclad story that they've got there.
Got it. There's some liberties that can be taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my only other question is this a new backstory for King Kong? Like, what are we going to find out? So that's what I was setting up going into it, and then
we went in. So what we've decided to do for the Rewind Club is when I pick the movie, Alan's going to do the recap of the narrative, and then I'll just sort of chime in and we can discuss some of the points that it brings up. When Alan picks the movie, I'll do the narrative running through the story. That way, the person who is seeing it for the first time is the one who has to kind of explain what's going on. Because I think the comedy value in that is probably higher.
Yeah, so I will try to explain the best. But yeah, you're definitely going to have to chime in here. But I will say...
and just one last thing, I'll just pull up the next slide. These are the main characters. And again, I'm very bad with names, not just in Godzilla movies, but just in general. I'm not good with people's names. So I brought this up so we can refer to the correct people.
Yeah, I had a really hard time following who is who in this movie, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to say immediately from the onset, this felt like a huge step up in like production value from the original Godzilla. Like it definitely felt much more modern from the cinematography, the acting, the dialogue. And it was, I don't want to say the original was kind of like, it wasn't difficult or anything, but you kind of had to get back into that pacing, like watching the original movie. But this one I felt right at home, despite losing track of who was who.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was 8 years later, and
yeah,
we're going from the 50s to the 60s, so there are big differences. This is in widescreen. This is in color.
yeah, and it all felt like you felt that right off the bat. Like I just felt this felt much more modern than the previous, which again for only an 8 years difference is still impressive to me. But it had an amazing intro. Like I was like, what is going on? So it opens with this model of Earth spinning, and there's like some scientific introduction of like the world turning, but what happens if it stops? And then a scientist jumps out in front. He's like, but that's not going to happen. And it turns out you are watching this TV show called Miracle Series, I believe was the name of it, which is a program on the TV station that was apparently not getting good ratings at the time, because after a little bit of the science show, we cut to Taco there. Taco, is that how you pronounced it? I remember.
Yeah.
I think it was Taco, who is the TV producer guy, the
He's kind of like,
station.
he works for the pharmaceutical company. He's kind of like the PR guy of the pharmaceutical company, Pacific Pharmaceuticals, who's in charge of sort of their marketing and their advertising.
Yeah, and in my notes, he is C-3PO. Like that's what I wrote him down as, because I was surprised how much they laid on like the comic relief in this movie. I was not expecting that at all. But so he's watching this Miracle Series program, and he's just like, oh. And then his gimmick is he flips a coin and goes, boring. And I'm going to steal that now for the rest of my life, because it was tremendous. Like he was debating whether this was boring or not, flips the coin, and he's like, boring. And that's when he starts like kind of chastising his staff about like, this show kind of this is too boring, and it's not bringing in the viewers. He yells, some woman gives him, I guess, like the stock market report, and he's like, that's not what I want. And then he yells at the other guy, the PR guy, which is that Kazuo? Which was the PR guy?
The two guys that work for him are Osamu, and we'll just call the other one Kinza. I think it's just
okay,
easier.
Kinza. But that guy's eating like a giant bowl of noodles, and he's like, yeah, these noodles are terrible. Like I'm immediately enjoying this immensely right from the get-go. And I guess the premise really is like, hey, we need to find something more interesting, because the TV station across the street, like they were what, TTV, and then there's like QTV, so has kind of maybe the they have the copyright on Godzilla footage or whatever it was, and like their station was great. I mean, maybe that didn't happen yet, but it comes up later that but so he wants a better show, right? And I don't know if I'm doing a good job recapping this. Jump in at any time, but I was enjoying it.
This is good. This is kind of setting the stage, because we're very quickly going to move from the office to somewhere else.
Yes, we quick cut to the Arctic Sea, and we are now in a submarine. Did I miss something, or are we good?
Well, the only thing that you missed was during this conversation, Taco says that he's going to send Kinza and Osamu to Faro Island, because there's been some interesting scientific discoveries. And you know what? I forgot to write down what he called it, but basically there was like the hell beast.
Oh wait, I think I have it written down somewhere in here too. What something evil or whatever.
Like there's an evil spirit being reported, so he wants to go check that out.
He's heard about that.
I'm forgetting what they say.
Yeah, I might have it written down because it was amusing. But my next note was we cut to the sub. We're now in a U.S. sub. Was this the Seawolf? I forgot whatever it was. They're patrolling out in the Arctic, and they spot a glowing iceberg, which to me, I had no idea what was going on, not knowing that Godzilla was encased in that. And spoiler, sorry if you didn't see that one coming. But here is where I had to remark, like, I love the sets they build for these movies. Like there's the sub, there's the office, there's a helicopter cockpit at one point. Like the office, like they just have fake buildings like right outside the windows, but it's all so great. It's so well done. And the submarine is like a tiny little room, but it looks the part. There's a ladder in the back. There's a periscope, there's a bunch of equipment, but it's very much built on a stage. And I really appreciated the craftsmanship and the trickery that went into that. It reminded me of like when you're taking toy photos and you're trying to build these scenes. They just did a people scale. But
people I think forget, because a lot of people like to talk about Godzilla movies as just, oh, it's just some guy in a rubber suit jumping around. And it's like, these movies were happening in the 60s. Like for what they were, when they were happening, and the budgets they were working with, like it's unbelievable to me what they were able to pull
and I'm
off.
sure they built this all on a single sound stage. Like now movies build these crazy elaborate sets, and then they even have like green screens to extend them. But you could tell this was like, all right, let's build the sub, film the sub, tear it down. Let's build the office, film it, tear it. Like it's really cool. I think maybe it's even a lost art that went into like making these, but it's very endearing. And just like we have that affection towards like actual miniatures and models being used in Star Wars. I think there's a real there's something that warms your heart seeing these types of sets, at least mine.
The practical effects, like my love for it probably stems more from Godzilla than it does from Star Wars, because it was maybe just a little more obvious that it was happening in Godzilla.
Sure.
It felt a little less real because it was older. So so even like as a little kid, I could just sort of just go like, man, this is just really neat the way, like, I wish I had a little building that I could just smash up.
Yeah. And I'll talk more about that. Like we definitely get more into it later because there are buildings that get smashed in this. But so we cut to the submarine. Now it's a US sub. They're conducting research in the Arctic Sea. They see this glowing iceberg, and a great scene happens where the commander says to the scientist, "Doctor, what do you make of that?" And the doctor just goes, I'm like, this is tremendous. So like, we're probably not even like 5-6 minutes into this, and I'm loving this already.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think you're underselling what's going on in the submarine. In addition to the crew that's running the submarine, there's like 7 dudes in suits just like hanging around in there.
Yeah, and I swore at one point one of the scientists was smoking a cigarette. And I get that everyone smoked back then, but I would have thought like in the submarine, maybe not. But I don't know. I can't verify that, so don't quote me on that one. So yeah, they one thing about this movie though, it cuts back and it jumps back and forth a lot. Like sometimes it's even, I felt like less than a minute we're in one spot, we jump back because,
well, keeping in mind the reason they're doing this is because they have to bring Godzilla in and they have to bring King Kong in. So there's 2 different narratives that they're having to push forward at the same time because they're on a collision course for wackiness.
Yes, and no small feat. And again, in my questions, I was wondering how these two are going to come to be. Never in a million years would I thought the plot of this was all around like ratings, and trying to really build up advertising for the pharmaceutical company. But it was great. Like I was pleasantly surprised. But so the sub is, we cut away from the doctors on the sub and we go back to the studio where Japan's Uncle Floyd was playing drums. Like I don't know who this one. This was Passion.
That was Osamu who was playing the drums, I think, wasn't it?
I wrote down Passion. So who was that? Pashin?
Don't know.
I don't know either. Again, this was moving at a rapid pace, so I was really struggling to find the characters. But one of the, this guy's just playing drums. He's on air talent, and he gets off, and they're having a conversation about, hey, there's something coming up, and they use the expression pinch hit a lot. I noticed that keeps coming up. So
yeah, you're definitely talking about Osamu. He was playing the drums because the actual drummer didn't show up, or the wrong kind of drummer showed up.
Yeah.
So he just jumped on camera to play the drums. And the conversation you're talking about is he's speaking with Kinza.
Yeah, and they're talking about, hey, there's something going on, with the scientist, and then I think we quickly kind of cut to a meeting upstairs with Taco, a scientist who just had come back from Faroe Island. And then again, I was confused at who was sitting in that meeting with them. Like, who are the 2 gentlemen that are in the meeting with Taco and the scientist?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Right. Like I feel like I should have given this another watch to kind of really try to capture this, because maybe they just don't hold your hand in this movie. That you got to keep up. You really have to pay attention. And but they're
But
the
again,
science.
the other thing that makes it, I don't know if it's difficult, or one of the reasons why I can't remember some of it, is because aside from the 5 people on the screen here, everybody else is very disposable in this movie. They pop in for a minute, they move the plot forward, half an inch, and then they're gone. You don't really see a whole lot of them anymore.
Yeah, so much
really
so that yes, I was gonna say so much so that I was waiting for them to get eaten later in the movie, and I was surprised that none of them actually did, because I'm like, oh, you're I was like me, I'm like, you're getting eaten, you're definitely getting eaten, and again, we'll come back to that, but yep, the scientist, they're talking. He brought back some fruit from the island and all this stuff, and then Taco flips his coin and he's like, get on with it, man. And so the scientist finally says, yes, islanders are claiming there's something strange going on the island. And for some reason, I wrote down mammoth evil pirates. I don't know why that. I don't know what that was.
That was the mammoth evil. I think spirit was
spirits. Okay, that was it. Mammoth evil spirits. And again, so they're listening to all this, and Taco sits. He flips his coin, looks at it, and goes, "This is all true. It'll hook the viewers." Like he once again used his coin. He was convinced it was true. The 2 guys sitting next to him, I'm like, kind of like, you can't be serious. This doesn't sound right. What if this flops? And he's like, no, this is it. And he asks them again to pinch hit for them. So I didn't understand why pinch hit, like why that was such a popular thing.
I'm not sure, but basically it's just because he just keeps asking people to do stuff that they aren't really typically doing. So I think it's supposed to help push that like fish out of water thing. It's, Kinza and Osamu, they don't just go around doing this usually. They're being thrust into a strange position. So I think it's trying to establish that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It was I'm like, pinch hit, like everybody's pinch hitting. So again, coin flip, pinch hitting, things I'm going to use more often now in my day-to-day. And I think that was really the end of the scene. I don't know if he decided that point to send the expedition, or that comes up.
He did. He definitely wants to send them there. And then very quickly we move on to the debut of the safari shorts.
Oh, but wait, there's a scene before that I just wrote down "Guy is home," because I had no idea who it was. I had no idea where he was.
Basically, that's when Osamu goes home and they introduce the Fumiko character, who is his sister and the love interest of Kazuo, who has not shown up quite yet.
Yes,
but
none of this
very soon.
Yeah, not explained like that they live together or anything. He just comes home, he sees her shoes, sees her handbag, and then he kind of sighs and goes downstairs where she is. And I'm like, is this his wife having an affair? But then I eventually, I guess, figured out that this was his sister. And then we meet Kazuo, who had just so happened to have invented this extremely strong wire, which, remember that, because that's going to come back. Yes, like it was obvious.
Steel, but it's essentially just thread.
Yes, and it was very amusing. He was like hanging off the balcony by it, like, woo, look at me. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be helpful later. Never really explained why he made it or like what he was going to do with it, but I'm like, oh, I'm like, no doubt this is going to come in handy later. And then I did write down Kazuo. That's the other guy. So I was doing my best to keep up here. And also that Kazuo's steak was bigger, which Osamu got upset about. But yeah, that was an interesting scene. Took me a little bit to catch up on there, and then we jump back to the sub. So, anything else? Did I miss anything else in that scene? Just establishing?
No. I think we can probably skim over some of the highlights for these a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the sub, right? And like, so they're glowing icebergs in front of them. They're like dive, which I thought was odd instead of going around. But I'm not a sub commander, so I guess you want to go under the iceberg.
Yeah.
Even though we've been taught that only the small part of the iceberg is above the surface, right?
They were still learning.
They were learning. So, yep.
That's why the scientists were there.
Someone should have said something, but they did not go under. They actually crashed into the iceberg. And very calmly, the commander's like, "Oh, we must have hit that iceberg." So he's spot on his game. And then, I wrote, seems like something they would have wanted to avoid. But I think that was it. Now we cut back to the safari pants and the expedition. The expedition to gather data party. Was that it?
That was it. And I love their outfits.
Yes.
Osamu and Kinza are wearing like straight out of like a 1930s Tarzan movie, like safari uniform, except they're wearing shorts instead of long pants. And
Yes.
it's immaculate. I love it.
Yeah, and they have rifles. Like they're ready. They're geared up to go.
They are ready to pinch hit.
Yeah, they're definitely ready to pinch hit. And then my notes here, my notes for the expedition party. This is very enjoyable. I am enjoying this because it's really good. Yeah, it's the big send off for them to go to Faroe Island. Famiko's there. There's another woman there, and this is where it's really subtle. But Famiko says that Kazuo is on another ship, like he's already left for something totally unrelated.
He's going to test his string somewhere. They never really explain why he had to go somewhere else to test his string, but he is off on another boat with some other folks who also I do not believe are specifically related to his company. They were just providing the boat for him to do his tests on.
Yeah, because he eventually gets off the boat and then and more movie happens. And I wrote, everything is moving so fast. They are wasting no time. Like, we're like 7 minutes into the movie, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
and
the movie's only about an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
Just slightly over an hour and a half long.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't write, because we cut back to the sub and now they're not doing well. They're wedged into the ice and it's looking like it is over for these guys. They tried everything. I mean, as much as you can to dislodge a sub from ice, but it is all ineffective. And then water starts coming in. But oddly enough, then
they released the food coloring.
They did release the food coloring, which I guess it's a real thing. If a sub's in danger, like it'll surface so people can find it. But first they were sinking and then they started burning.
They were on fire. And you heard a familiar to me roar.
Yes. And to me, where not so familiar, it was frightening. What could it possibly be? Because we just don't know.
It was definitely something of a screonk.
Yes. So, but they were sinking, they were burning. I don't think they did okay. I think they were, because
they've had better days.
They've had better days. Yeah. So that was it. That was, I think, on the sub, and now we cut to Faroe Island.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on here.
Yeah. So our intrepid what do we want to call them? Like our expedition guys here in their safari shorts are now paired with this guy with I named Monkey D. Luffy. And I know you don't know who that is, but that is the main character for One Piece, who looks exactly like that. Same hat, same striped shirt, like and he acts like the guy. This is like, I guess, a guide for them who knows the native language.
He's the guide, he's the translator. He has very comic facial expressions, very exaggerated facial expressions.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen One Piece, just think Monkey D. Luffy, and that is this guy. But I did remark that. I'm like, oh yeah, this dude is definitely getting killed by King Kong. So yeah, expedition to the island, and it's just the three dudes, and they basically like drop them off and split, like the little boat. They do not want to stay on this island. And I don't blame them, because the island is inhabited by some natives.
They are definitely there. And this is one of the things this is the part of a lot of Godzilla movies that hasn't aged particularly well.
I didn't know if you wanted to remark on this, but
yeah, the quote unquote primitive islander trope is recurring in a lot of Godzilla movies. Mm-hmm. And you watch it now and it's just kind of like, it's a plot device. It's moving the story forward, but it's probably not great in that way.
I think we have learned and we've gotten better over the years why a lot of this was not a pro. Even the Monkey D. Luffy guy kind of falls into that same category too.
A little caricature-ish.
Yes, a bit much. But again, keeping with the movie, they are taken to the chief of the tribe, who basically tells them, get off the island.
Yeah, GTFO.
Yeah, he does not want them there. and then they say, hey, look, we'll give you this radio, we'll give you this bit of electronics that you probably have never seen before, have no idea what it does, but it'll allow you to listen in to, what's happening around the world, as well as play music, which was super appealing to the chief.
Riddle me this.
I will riddle you. Go ahead.
What radio station are they picking up on this radio on Faroe Island?
I was wondering the same thing, because where did they say Faroe Island was? Did they give us a location?
It was in the water.
It was in the water. Okay, sure. So it was out there.
I believe it was south of Japan, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'm guessing it picks up satellite, because I was curious about that as well, that it's within range where they could listen to news from all over the world. Yeah. And I'm also thinking logistically too, like, what happens when the batteries run out on this thing? Like, the chief is not going to be happy about that. But I don't know.
The other thing that they're handing out is a whole big pile of cigarettes.
Yes, so that's what I think.
One of the Islanders are stoked to be getting these cigarettes. And again, I'm just watching this and just going like, oof. Yeah. The cigarette being given to the child was a little that was a little much.
Yes, I have that, and I wrote they give the natives a radio and cigarettes so they can stay, and they give it to the kid. Like the kid, but I think they took the cigarette away from the kid. Like the lady,
the mom did, the main dancer mom.
Yeah. And then again, I wrote, these are funny guys. And again, even the dudes on Safari are being very like over the top, right? Like, they're playing the roles, and it's amusing. And then so begins the ritual on the island. Reminded me of like the thuggy ritual from Temple of Doom, there's drums and singing and dancing. And
I love the King Kong worship music. I just absolutely love that. Like that the melody of that has just been lodged in my head since I was, like 8 years old. I absolutely love it.
Well, it's good because it comes back later. So
it does come back from time to time. Yeah.
It does come back. So that was good. So yeah, again, they're going to stay on the island. The natives agree to carry their gear. Everyone's got cigarettes, and we got a radio. It's a party. And then we cut to another ship, and I was confused, but this is the ship we talked about earlier with Kazuo on it. I'm like, oh, this is Fumiko's fiance, and this is where they first remarked that the Seahawk has vanished, and American planes are looking for it.
Yeah,
and then we immediately cut to a helicopter. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That works. And this
helicopters can search a little better. They don't have to fly over quite so fast.
Yes. And it was my favorite kind of helicopter. I love those banana copters with the two blades. I don't know, something weird. I always liked this kid. But again, here's where I love the cockpit, which is so obviously two dudes just sitting in a chair, like moving thing around, but it looks great. Like, it's so well done. Like, I was really appreciated. And they find the yellow dye marker around the iceberg that you had mentioned earlier. I just want to pause and remark how much I appreciate the subset and the helicopter sets. And they find the dye marker, and then what is breaking free from the glowing iceberg? Well, it is none other than Godzilla. And here's where I have some questions for you.
Okay.
How did these airmen know about Godzilla? Like, because
this isn't Godzilla's first appearance. He's come around Japan before, and I think that even back then the news would travel if there was this gigantic monster rampaging around a country.
Because I didn't know why they didn't just assume, oh my God, it's another monster. They were just certain that this was Godzilla.
Yeah.
So, okay. But either way, same result. It didn't matter if it was.
It was, in fact, Godzilla.
Yeah, and Godzilla was not happy. He immediately wakes up and just starts destroying everything. So, again, this starts to answer my questions. Godzilla, not the good guy.
Now, the one thing here is you say he starts destroying everything. You might be thinking, hang on, he's in an iceberg in the middle of the Arctic.
No.
What is he destroying? Well, apparently he's destroying a gigantic military base that suddenly had leapt into action to confront him. And I'm wondering what the sub was exploring that close to the military base.
Not only that, I'm pretty sure on the sub they said rescue is out of the there's no chance of rescue, but the base was just over there.
Yeah.
That was like, yeah, because I saw, oh, they're rolling out the tanks. All right, we're gonna get ready. And the tanks start firing immediately, and Godzilla over the iceberg starts fighting back. But
So there's probably a time cut in there that they don't explain super well, but it is sort of jarring that he literally breaks out of the iceberg, and then the next cut scene is tanks, and then the next cut is Godzilla stomping on tanks.
yeah, on land. Like, yeah, that,
it is quick.
Yep. So we talked about, did it explain how Godzilla ended up in the iceberg? And then I also wrote, I'm like, how many movies did we skip? Just the one? So very, very confused about that. But it was great. The tanks look great. It was a lot of fun. Like this, I think this movie just is consistently fun throughout.
Yeah.
Like, I would say the first one we watched, very, very serious, had a lot of like downer moments and, stuff. This one is just fun.
This is a party, this movie.
This is the party.
I don't think that Godzilla movies really ever get the credit for being as good as they are for what they're trying to do. And this is very, very obviously a satire about, the evils of marketing, the evils of just chasing, fame, chasing headlines, chasing publicity. And I don't think a lot of people, especially people who've only seen the American version, I don't think they really see the subtlety of that, the satire aspect of it.
Well, was it subtle? Because immediately now we go back to the TV station and Taco's pissed.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla's out there wreaking all this havoc. And he's like, what do we got? We got nothing. Like he rips up stuff. Yeah.
Because the other pharmaceutical company advertises on that other station, which apparently I guess is just maybe it's more news heavy station or something like that.
I just thought they had the rights to Godzilla. Like I
couldn't quite understand super well.
Yeah. And then that's where I saw, I'm like, oh, the PR guy didn't go to the island. I'm like, who are these guys? So that's it. He's angry. Yeah, and I was really confused about that. I'm like, why wouldn't all of the stations be reporting on this? But like, I get it now because of he's like the representative from the pharmaceutical company, which is really funny. It comes up later too, which is great. But now we're back to the island. We're checking through the island with the natives, and then one of them gets attacked by a giant lizard, and he spins around, and they throw it off the mountain and shoot it. And that causes lightning, I guess, to happen, right?
It's just a coincidence.
That was just a coincidence that it went from daytime, then lightning, and now it's night. But
well, I think tying it to the lizard is a coincidence. It's more directly tied to the King of Kong.
Yes, okay, that I figured, but it was just like night has fallen, like boom. And this is where I struggled, and I don't know how it is for you, but the nighttime scenes on the island are dark, like super, super dark.
Yes.
So I was watching on my TV, and I also had to pull it up on my phone with the brightness like through the roof to kind of try to see what was happening at this point.
Yeah, I don't know for certain that this is what happens, but I'm reasonably sure that the movies back then they filmed a lot of that stuff in the daytime, and then they just made it dark. So that's why you sometimes get some inconsistent colors and some difficult to see moments.
Yeah, because the next part I was struggling to figure out. I'm like, what is happening? There's some kind of like lava flow or some blob on the. I'm like, oh, giant octopus. Giant octopus. I didn't see that one coming. What did they? Oh, because the Japanese for octopus is
taco.
Taco. So the one guy says, "Oh no, giant taco." He's like, "What? Mr. Taco's here?" Which is like, it was great. But yes, so this giant octopus comes out. It starts attacking a home with the cigarette kid and his mom are in it, and the sleeping juice, which we'll come back to, and the entire villagers, they all start fighting the giant octopus. Very, very dark. But the kid and the lady make it out, and then that's when we get our first appearance of the other main character of this film,
King Kong.
King Kong.
Shows up, screaming.
He was not having any of the giant octopus. I wasn't sure at this point. I'm like, is he a friend to the natives? Is he like, what's happening here? But he certainly, whatever he was, he did not like that octopus. Not a fan. And I just wrote, man, I wish I could see this. It looks ridiculous because he starts whaling the octopus with boulders. And it's pretty epic. And the octopus just pieces out after that. It's like, you know what? Forget it. These people are not worth this trouble.
And then it's Miller time.
So did I miss something before Miller time came up? Because King Kong, runs off the octopus, and in this hut are these barrels of red, like high C, right? Like,
I call it NyQuil in my notes.
It is, yeah, it's NyQuil. So it's like this sleepy drink made from the fruits of the island, and Kong sees this red stuff, and he decides to drink it. So I was so confused about this. Like, did he like this stuff? Did he know about this stuff?
I think that they make it because of him.
Okay.
Like, I think that's part of the again, this isn't like really explained, but just based on popular King Kong mythology from movie to movie, I think that they have a relationship with Kong, and I think that making the juice for him is part of that relationship.
But the juice makes you sleep. It makes you pass out.
Yeah.
And I guess he just has trouble sleeping, and that's the deal.
Do you not like sleeping? Because I sure wish I could find some red juice and go to sleep, because I'm up all damn night.
I love it, but he drinks this stuff and he is lights out. And they start partying with the Mola Ram music again, like
good dancing too. Like some real.
Yeah, they were definitely into this, and I just didn't know. Did they know this was going to happen? Was this dumb luck? But I guess you said it's like it was expected.
It's part of their relationship. I mean, you don't build a fence and boulder, fence, enclosure if you don't know that thing's floating around out there, if you don't have some sort of relationship with it.
Yeah. So symbiotic relationship with the natives and King Kong. He fights off the giant beast. They give him the NyQuil. And then my notes say dance party and dance. So they dance the night away.
Yeah. And then they decide, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take him home.
Yes. Yeah. Our intrepid safari guys decide to strap him to a raft. And
how that is like, again, I have no problem suspending disbelief in Godzilla movies. That has to be baked into your understanding of what a Godzilla movie is. But sometimes they leave out little things like that I'm like, okay, you have this gigantic sleeping gorilla. Where did the raft come from? 2, how did you get him onto the raft once you had the raft? And then who's going to tie him down? With apparently not even the good string that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, this is regular string. And this may sound like criticisms, but it was fine. Right?
Yeah, like, it's fine. But the level of attention they give to some things makes it kind of funny to me, because that they're sitting around, they're just going, yeah, we can't explain this. Just skip it.
Just do it. It even gets better, too, when the army gets involved later. So there's more to put a pin in that, because there's more fun to come. But let's see. So, yep. They are psyched. So back at the station, super psyched. King Kong is a big deal. And so hatches this plan, this like showdown, right? Where like they start talking about who is stronger, King Kong versus Godzilla. And here's where, if you had asked me how I thought these two would come together, again, I never would have guessed it's because some TV execs wanted a big story before he retired. But lo and behold, there's the debate of who was stronger, and they wanted to set up this battle. For some reason, I wrote down Banzai. I don't know why, but
yeah, I believe during this time period, this is when Kazuo is on the ship, and they say, "Hey, we have to leave." And he goes, "Okay, cool. Drop me off, at the Copacabana." And then it turns out that boat ends up getting sunk by Godzilla off screen. Mm. So then we get to Fumiko finding out that his boat got destroyed, and she is told to go to Hokkaido to see for sure. And again, I'm not really sure what the logic is in that exactly.
No.
But she's told to go to Hokkaido. So she gets on a train to start jettisoning over there.
Yeah. But wait, I know you don't want to, like, we got a lot to get through and time is getting late, but I want to say Taco gets airlifted to the ship. He just gets dropped like onto the ship, which is again
onto the ship that's bringing Kong back to Japan.
And they have the raft that Kong is on rigged with explosives in case things get out of control, with the giant plunger just right there on the deck with Taco almost
like the Muppets style plunger.
Yeah, which he kind of like leans on at one point. And they're like, oh, like that was great. And they talked about they want to use King Kong in ads. So it's all about like the ad campaign for the pharmaceuticals. Yeah, and then like a destroyer like pulls them over. Like, hey, you can't park that here. No, you can't bring King Kong back to Japan. Like,
I didn't make like a ton of notes because I'm watching it, because I've mostly I know the movie pretty well, but I did write some notes just to sort of keep a timeline. So when you were describing it, I could kind of interject. And my notes there is water cops say no Kong.
Yes, no to Kong. Like, you cannot bring him. And then what happened? He woke up, right? So they blew up the raft.
Well, he woke up and they want to blow up the raft, but Taco is trying to stop them from blowing up the raft. And then there's just sort of like a Three Stooges sort of slapstick thing going on. Yeah. And Taco kind of falls onto the plunger and makes the best face in the entire movie. Because he does not want to blow up Kong, because he wants, the advertising.
He's the man. There's money to be made. Yeah.
Yeah, but the TNT doesn't blow up. So instead, they start shooting at the TNT with guns to make it blow up. And then it blows up. And, like, as you can imagine, minimal effect on King Kong.
He stands up and he's in, like, knee-deep water at this point. Like,
the size of King Kong is very inconsistent in this movie.
Yes.
He is way larger than buildings in some scenes, but yet small enough to hold a human being in his hand in others. So again, that's another sort of disbelief you need to suspend. He changes sizes wildly depending on the needs of the scene.
I hope it doesn't sound like I'm ragging on this movie, because I'm loving like all of this, the slapstick over the plunger, the water cops who not only tell him that you can't bring Kong to Japan, but also say we're also accusing you of smuggling and you have to pay up or something like that. It was great. Meanwhile, you mentioned the train to Hokkaido, and we find out that Godzilla has destroyed Sendai and is heading south, and he is just on a rampage tour. Like, let's see, the train stops, Godzilla's coming, people panic. Fumiko has a nice hat, again, attention to detail there. And the trains, Godzilla stops the trains, destroys those. People are escaping in trucks, and she gets a bit of the dumb, I think, at this point.
Yeah, this is one of those things where everyone is sort of escaping together. Most people get on buses and trucks. A handful of people could not. And then suddenly she's running through a river by herself in the most exaggerated...
Yeah, when you said running, I think she was just like flopping through
She's basically reenacting the Naughty by Nature hip-hop hooray video in a river. Like, I maybe she was dipping into the red Kong juice, but she, like, I don't know. Again, I don't know what happens, but she just turns into like an insane person during the scene. But luckily, her boy comes and finds her.
Yeah. Again, in her defense, have you ever been chased by Godzilla? I have not.
No, not
I
yet.
don't know what would happen to my extremities, like in that point. But yeah, like, so yes, Kazu had find out that she went to Hokkaido. He, I think he also finds out from, like, the only people that are evacuating, there was a woman and her child. The only two people that were like, oh, we're evacuating, Godzilla's there. So he caught up with the train or whatever. He finds her in the river. And what is wrong with Fumiko as she stumbles through the river like she's drunk?
But he gets her out of there.
Yeah, so he gets her. That's all good. I'm glad. But then the army is, determines in order to save the world, they must use an H-bomb for peace. Now, these guys did not watch the first Godzilla movie.
Well, they don't do it. They pretty quickly come up with other plans, like a poison gas pit.
Yes, which, again, like, you talk about building the King Kong raft, they made that rather quickly, right?
Yeah,
That all
yeah. It's like they had plans for a poison gas pit just lying around. They're like, hey, we can use this.
yes. And let's see.
We're
What am I
starting to build towards the first confrontation. So I think we can kind of move towards there, but I have to say, so Kong gets to land, and there's nothing in this movie that makes me smile more than King Kong running through like the open fields.
him dragging his long arms down?
It's just, and again, I love this movie. I am in no way making fun of it. But the way that they have King Kong act in a lot of these scenes is just so fun and just so awesome. But he's like just running, just like sort of kind of like Fumiko, but a little less
Yes.
drunk.
Yes, and a lot more like destructively. It cut to a construction site for I'm like, now we're watching.
They're building the poison gas pit.
I know, but I'm like, we're watching a construction site for reasons that are yet unknown, because it seemed like it was happening in an entirely different movie. But yes, rapidly build, and then I'm like, oh, this is the army's plan. Yeah. And I wrote, did they not watch the first movie? Because they have the poison gas with dynamite, they have more electrical wires, and and now we have two monsters rampaging. So
and they meet. And it's a very short confrontation. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if you'll notice why one of these monsters came out on top during their first scuffle.
Well, let's think. Let's look at my note. I did note that we're now at the 1 hour mark. So we have like 36-ish minutes left in the movie. And we got our two antagonists here. And they kind of like start like, Godzilla was up high, King Kong was down low, and they're just kind of like, oh, he had the high ground. Was that it?
Yes, he had the high ground.
Oh, you're right. I didn't think of it. Because they're kind of like, they're doing their thing. They're like, oots, oots, oots. And Kong's down there. They're throwing some stuff back into each other. And I'm just remarking on, is this just dumb luck that the two of them ran into each other?
Well, no, they said earlier that Kong was headed towards Godzilla. Like Kong was itching for a fight.
Okay, and he just knew. He woke up on this raft and he's like, Godzilla. Like he's like,
but he was not expecting Godzilla's atomic breath, which really was the difference maker in this first very short scuffle.
I mean, so who is expecting Godzilla's atomic breath? Yeah.
So basically, it's just very limited involvement. Godzilla has the high ground, hits him with the atomic breath a couple times. Kong does not really know what to make of that, and decides that now is not the time to jump like Anakin did. Now is the time to let's hang back and we'll reassess and try again later.
And I gotta say, compared to what Anakin did, I think Kong made the right call.
I think so too. He knew Godzilla has the high ground. What am I going to do? I got to get out of here.
Meanwhile, our friendly TV crew is there rooting for King Kong during this battle, and they're very sunk when he scratches his head and walks away. He's like, I didn't like that. I'm gonna come back. We'll do that again.
So now Godzilla's back on the rampage.
Back on the rampage. Scientists and the army amazingly built these high voltage lines within 15 minutes. They build it super quick, and then they drop them in the pit. That was not effective.
Nope.
The fire didn't do anything.
Nope. High tension wires.
Yeah,
he didn't like those.
He did not like. He learned. He was like, no. I'm not a fan. I'm going to circumvent these. I'm going to go around them. And King Kong was just out there tooling around, and now I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, Kong comes back though, and Kong, no problem with those wires. He loves those.
Yeah. Not only that,
he likes the lightning.
Yeah. Not only that, it supercharges him, does it not?
Yep, it does.
Yeah, like recharged his battery. Did not see it coming.
And I don't know if you have good notes on this, but Taco is just absolutely insane around this part of the movie. Like he just is a complete awesome lunatic around now.
Yeah, let me see. I did not remark. I think I was really struggling to make notes here because this is like the crux of the movie. So
everything's happening.
Yeah, and it's happening rapidly. So Godzilla went around, King Kong went through. doesn't care about the voltage. He actually eats the wires.
He loves it.
He's like, I eat lightning for breakfast. He loved it. And I wrote, I feel like King Kong hasn't truly versed Godzilla yet, but wait, because here it comes.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Well, not yet though, because first he picks up Fumiko.
I did not know this was Fumiko. She changed her clothes. She's wearing a banana dress, so I don't know what she was thinking. She was definitely going to get picked up by King Kong in that yellow outfit.
And to me, this is where the scale issues are a little problematic, because
when he goes like this, he picks her up, and then she's like in his hand. Yeah.
So Kong takes off with Fumiko, and he ends up on top of I think it's called the Diet building. I think that's kind of like their Congress or type building. It's a government building. It's a fairly famous government building.
Not very tall,
though. What it's called. I don't know. I think it's called the Diet. It looks like it's in English. It's written like the word diet, but I do not believe it's pronounced like that. I think it's like Diet or something like that.
But not a tall building. Like
not a super tall building, but he's standing on top of it. He's got Fumiko, and how are we going to deal with this?
This is great.
So I like, we have some of that red juice, but military people. I'm Taco speaking, or Asamu, or I'm from the pharmaceutical company. Hey, we've got this berry juice. Do you happen to have any ether bombs lying around? Because we could put the juice in the ether bomb.
So
and as luck would have it, we've got a drummer with us and drums.
So, and this is just amazing. Yeah, Taco and the TV crew tell the army to make sleeping bombs, which they get immediately on, and they're ready. They're ready like within minutes, right? And then, they hit him with the sleeping bombs. He scratches his nose, and they beat the drums. They start playing.
They play the music. They have a recording of the natives' music that they're playing at the same time, but Asamu suddenly has these big like bongo type drums or taito drums or something like that.
Yep.
And he's playing along, and King Kong's getting sleepy, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna peace out here for a little bit.
Yep. But thankfully he does, because they were able to rescue Banana Fumiko.
Yep. So she's good to go. Now, I think we want to get Kong back over to Godzilla. Do we happen to have a convenient plot device that would allow us to do that?
What if we have
some
really strong thread?
Do you know anyone who has invented really strong thread that might be somehow related to the main characters in this movie?
It just so happened that Banana Fumiko's fiance invented this thread, and he happens to be right here.
Unbelievable.
Yes, but let me ask you a question. So we can tie this thread around King Kong, but then what? How do we move him?
Well, I just so happen to have a bunch of balloons.
Again, this is where the movie it keeps escalating in quality. Like, yes, let us float King Kong over to where Godzilla is.
Like this.
See what happens. Yes. I was like, the wires around his crotch had me concerned, because there was no way that could have been comfortable. It was so awkward, which again, they probably had very limited time and they had to do it quickly. But luckily they had limited time, but they had unlimited thread. Like, they just had
lots of balloons,
lots of balloons and lots of thread, and they float King Kong to Mount Fuji.
Yep.
Yes.
And they drop Kong onto the mountain, and then he wet banana slip and slides down into Godzilla.
Yep.
And again, I don't know how much detail you want to get into on the fight, because the rest of the movie is just them fighting.
Yes, here's where it's all just ha 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 ha. They drop King Kong, so he slides right into Godzilla with this goofy smile on his face, and now they fight.
They fight with rocks. There's some good grappling, although King Kong manages to smash his own head onto a rock, which is kind of weird. So Godzilla starts burying him. We have the awesome Godzilla drop kick, which is like my favorite thing in the whole movie as far as like the fight scenes go. He's gonna bury him a second time, and it looks like Godzilla's gonna win. But
no.
there's a lightning storm coming through that doesn't even have any rain.
I have so many random notes through the fight. Like I am just scrolling because the fight goes on it's a considerable fight, and it is totally 100% it's like a wrestling match. Watching these two between the pandering to each other and the like constant like switching of who's getting the shots in. At one point Kong stuffs a tree into Godzilla's mouth.
That's after the lightning storm comes through and zaps Kong and supercharges him.
Yes.
So one of the first things he does after that is he grabs a giant tree and tries to shove it down Godzilla's throat.
Yes. And I'm getting worried because there's only like 4 minutes left in this movie and I don't want it to end. Like I need another 30 minutes of just this because it's great. They fight with a giant pagoda building between them. I don't even know if they're fighting each other.
It's a super famous scene, and they did some still shots. It's in the background. You can kind of see it behind all of the people.
Yes.
Screen share thing. But that's an extremely famous press photo that has been out there for like a really, really long time.
Yeah. And they just demolish that building and then they both fall off a cliff, right?
They fall off a cliff. And then the only one we see is
King Kong.
King Kong.
Yep.
He goes swimming back to Faroe Island. We hear Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see Godzilla. And we can assume that King Kong won. Now, let's go back to this book.
Okay.
Let's go.
You're going to read us a passage?
To page 31, which is the King Kong versus Godzilla thing.
Okay.
Now, remember, I read this when I was a child.
Okay.
And the sentence that I'm going to read, I took as fact for decades.
Okay.
Who won? That depended upon where in the world you saw the movie. In the United States, King Kong came out the victor. Back in Japan, however, the homegrown monster came out on top, Godzilla. Ooh. Which is wrong.
Oh.
Godzilla did not win.
This book is being liar to you.
But forever, I thought there was a Japanese version of this movie that I couldn't see because I lived in America, where Godzilla.
Oh, wins. That's amazing! Whoever wrote this book has obviously never seen this movie.
Yeah, no. So
this is why you never meet your heroes. Never meet your heroes, right? But wait, we missed stuff, but I can't even go back to it at this point. That is a crazy fact. I'm very disappointed in that book now. I can't believe anything in any of those series of books.
It's funny because it actually sort of makes me love it a little bit more because, it's written in just like this super pre-internet, easy to access global information time that I think makes it kind of charming and quaint. And it actually makes me love it more, even though it set me on a misguided path for 20 something years before I finally got to see. The first time I ever got to see the American version of this is I bought a VHS of the Japanese version, like a bootleg thing in like a comic shop somewhere. And I was probably in college when I finally found it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of took so when they fall off the cliff and they go into the water, there's an earthquake. And I took that as Godzilla kind of retreating underground or something to recover.
Yeah, I mean, never show what happens to Godzilla. Very much signifying that Godzilla's still out there kicking. But yeah,
it wasn't.
Apparently, you liked this movie, which makes me really happy because I love this movie.
It was, yes, this was 100% enjoyable end to end, aside from the confusion and it jumping around. I imagine on rewatch and subsequent watches, when a lot of things better, it's probably much more enjoyable. I was really focused on trying to understand and follow things, and I was definitely confused. But no, I enjoyed this tremendously. This was quality. I liked it a lot more than the first one. Like this one was a lot of fun. I did not expect the comedy. Like that was a big surprise to me, but there was a lot of silly moments
and like good genuine comedy that I sort of feel is kind of like precursors to how maybe some modern action movies do
Sure.
it. Like you can kind of look at the way they do some of the Marvel movies and the way they try to
Yep.
weave humor through them. And I feel like you can trace a lot of that DNA to movies like this.
Yeah, I mean, and even the overall absurdity of these ad guys setting up this epic duel with not really even considering the fallout and the damage to the country and everything. They wanted to prove that their pharmaceutical company sponsoring King Kong, who was stronger, and he was going to sell more of their pharmaceuticals. And they even said at one point, like, he's our, what did they say? Like
spokesman or spokesperson.
Like it was so great. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Good pick. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm glad we watched this.
Yeah, I'm eager to have you watch some more Godzilla movies, which the bulk of them don't lean on they don't lean on the humor quite the same way. There's more unintentional comedy in some of the other ones because they do try to take some of the other movies, even the campier ones, a little more seriously. This one is, I don't want to say this one's played for laughs, but like you mentioned, like the comedy aspect of it is really in the forefront in a unique way for a lot of Godzilla movies.
Yeah, this one, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be tough to beat.
There's a reason why it's the #1 Godzilla movie of all time in Japan.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, but cool. This was a good rewind segment. I encourage everyone, if you're watching this live or you watch it later, definitely check in to see what movie we're doing currently. Get involved in the conversation. We'd love to hear more opinions, what people thought, and what other notes that people have. So we have to.
Again, we're gonna be doing a rewind club once a month, and we're going to alternate months who picks the movie. And you are going to pick April's movie, and I believe you have already you've chosen April's
yes
movie.
And so I have been making a short list. I've been comparing notes to see what you've seen, what you haven't seen, and we have come across the cinematic masterpiece that is Howard the Duck as
Which I have never seen.
Yes, as I have, fortunately or unfortunately, I have seen this. I saw it. I haven't seen it in decades, but I know it is not a well-revered movie, but my memories are very, very positive. I enjoyed it at the time. So I'm curious to see if it holds up, after all this time. And I'm curious to see if upon a first watch, if you even enjoy it in the slightest.
I hope it's better than Krull, because that was very challenging to get through. I feel like this one might be at least a bit campier in a way that you can sort of enjoy it for what it is. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
So everyone out there, you have between now and probably mid-April to get your rewatch in of Howard the Duck. Come on, join us. Join the Rewind Club, and then I'm
curious to see if this is even streaming anywhere. Like what? No, it does not look like it is available for free anywhere. It says it's on Netflix, but everything always says it's on Netflix, and then when you look, it's like, oh, sorry, that's not on Netflix. So, we'll find it.
It'll be all right.
Yep.
But
cool.
But yeah, let us know. And last thing, like even if you don't want to comment a whole ton about King Kong versus Godzilla, go in the comments. Which team are you on? Are you on Team King Kong? Or are you on Team Godzilla? I'm very much on Team Godzilla. You?
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. That is a tough one. I think I was actually rooting for King Kong during this movie.
Hey? So
yeah,
take a side, everybody. And I think we're going to wrap up this episode.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for
everybody
with us. And we'll see you next time.
I don't remember what we're talking about next week. Next week's not the Rewind Club. We're kind of back to our normal nonsense. But I think we'll also be back on Thursday again next week. Back to our regularly scheduled time.
Indeed.
So until then,
we'll see you.
Have fun, everybody.
Cheers.
Perfectly excellent.